Ashlynne Hensley, and the lesson plan that I chose for this was Explore the Seasons. And so this one was targeted towards second grade, but I think that it can be used for first up to fifth, and I think that you can just change that depending on how rigid your assessment is. But it takes about an hour and 15 minutes, and it's science and social studies. And the objectives that it listed was, the only one was that students will be able to identify the 4 seasons and describe different events that happen in each. And so I created the objectives that students will be able to tell the weather outside at any given time, and with that also know the season that we're given the weather. And then students will be able to identify which season we're in given that. Students will be able to list which holidays fall in those seasons as well. And then the procedure, basically you introduce it by saying, like, what are the 4 seasons, like what activity do you do in each season, and then explain that to them, and explain that also solar energy is part of the reason why we have seasons in the Earth's axis and how the sun rotates and stuff. And so with that, the teacher modeling part, you'll ask them about what you just told them, make sure that they're listening. And then also explain that in different parts of the world, this is also, at the beginning it says like letting them know that this is how we're able to have life, like things in the sun, to have energy, this is how we grow stuff, this is how things are able to live. And then also, it's relevant because it says that describe the weather for each season in your area. So later on it says that if the seasons in your area generally are kind of the same, like using the holidays to differentiate between each season. And so further on, you start by, on the board, you'll review all the things that you just talked about, and you'll write them on the board and have them discuss in their different groups. And then again, it says in the similar area, distinguish the seasons by discussing the holidays in your group. And so depending on where you live, if the seasons are running together. And then independent work time, you're gonna put them into groups, and then you're gonna have them talk about their experiences during the different seasons and have them differentiate what they've done at different times of the year depending on that season. And then the activity per se is for them to draw their favorite season and what they do in that season to help them realize that maybe they haven't made the connection that what they do around Thanksgiving time is like during fall or during the winter season. And then it says differentiation. There are worksheets at the end that the seasons tree change worksheet that I will show you that you can also throw in there for part of the assessment. And then the actual assessment says for you to go around to each student and look at the poster that they've created for the season and the activity that they like to do in their favorite season, and have them describe it to you so that you can assess whether or not they're able to say which season it is, what holiday happens in that season, and what are the characteristics of that season. And then, so closing on that, ask them all the 4 seasons. Once you come back as a group, ask them the 4 seasons again, and then ask certain students that volunteer to say why the seasons change and how it affects the outside weather and your mood and stuff like that. And so the materials that it gives you here are for the activities, the worksheets that it has at the end. The only thing that you would really need, unless you're doing the worksheets, is the poster board and the scissors and the glue and stuff like that. That way they're able to draw on their poster board. But unless you're doing the worksheets at the end as part of your assessment or part of your review, then you won't need the all the glue and the tape and stuff like that, because they're going to be cutting stuff out and gluing them onto this tree. And so for the prior knowledge at the top, I put that they'll have to know how to use adjectives to describe whether hot, warm, sunny, foggy, whatever, stuff like that. And then they have to be able to know the different holidays. Like, you're not going to be able to understand that winter, if you're in an area like this, is when it's cold. If you don't know, or like Christmas is during winter, if you don't really know when Christmas is in the year. And also, after the lesson, they're going to be able to learn that connecting the description of the weather to the different seasons is how you know when the seasons are in the year, and also that which holidays are in the season. And then connecting that the reflection of the solar energy is distributed on Earth because of its axis and the rotation, and that's how the seasons change throughout the year. And so these are the standards that we had. The first one being compare weather patterns that occur over time and relate observable patterns of time to time of the day and the time of year. And I thought that though this is about season, obviously you're going to have to talk about the weather in each season. So I thought that it would be cool to keep a weather chart where every day, like, you have a student go outside or go to the window at least and say what the weather is, maybe like even once a week over the course of a few months, and then you can see like maybe between fall and winter how the season has changed. And then the second one being patterns of change can be used to make predictions. So like, okay, the leaves are falling off the tree, what do we predict is going to happen next month now that we know it's been getting colder? So the assessment, again, the assessment was just to walk around and see what they had done on their poster and then assess them whether or not they're able to tell you. And those are the worksheets that you could possibly do them. Any questions?
I thought that was a fun assessment you were going to do, being honest.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is Kennedy, and then after Kennedy will be Sydney.